Welcome into Mock Trial Masterclass, your guide to controlling the courtroom. I'm Luke and I want you to be a mock trial master. Let's talk about how you can make that happen. All right, I'm gonna be honest. This is a video I have dreaded making a little bit because I feel like this has a potential to hurt some feelings and get some people upset or offended. What we're gonna be talking about in this video is how to dress in mock trial. Now, here's what I'm gonna tell you. Nothing that I'm going to say in this video is reflective of my personal preference or some kind of belief or opinion that I have. What we're going to talk about today in terms of dress for a mock trial is the type of dress that will help you score well. So if you hear a suggestion of mine in this video and you think, well, man, that's outdated, or man, we should really move beyond that, I might actually agree with you depending on what specifically your opinion is. Here's the problem though. When you're in mock trial, you're in it to be scored well. And there are naturally certain types of things that score well and that don't score well. Now, am I suggesting that what you wear in mock trial is going to affect your score? It's probably not going to at the end of the day, unless what you're wearing is just outrageously distracting. But it does matter because all this whole mock trial thing, it's a big psychology game, right? You're trying to make these jury members like you. You're trying to want them to be on your side and more than anything, probably have a good first impression of you. And so if you walk into the courtroom wearing something that is distracting or something that's not kosher, that's not something you would expect to have worn in a typical mock trial tournament or in a courtroom, you're gonna give someone in the jury the wrong impression of you, and that's not what you want. So know that as I make these recommendations that I'm on your side with this. I want you to score well. I want you to make good first impressions. And if you disagree with any of these suggestions, don't come at me. I'm not the one who made these standards. This is just what is generally acceptable in a courtroom, specifically within the mock trial world. If you want to get mad at someone, get mad at society or America or whoever else. And what I'm also going to tell you is that if the suggestions I make in this video, if you say, well, no one can afford that, you're just not accurate with that. You're just wrong, right? I'm not rich by any stretch of the imagination, and all of these types of clothing, at least for me, have been easily affordable. But even if you're struggling with money, even if money's really tight and it's a stretch to be able to do these things, there are plenty of options available. You can go to big box department stores who have great sales you can take advantage of. You can go thrifting and find a lot of the things we're going to talk about in this video. So know that, number one, I'm on your side. This is only to help you. Don't get offended by any of this. And number two, it is possible. It is affordable. So with that as a precursor, what we're going to jump into now is how to dress as a male attorney, as a female attorney, and as a witness. And by the way, if there's any other topic you want to see covered in a future Mock Trial Masterclass video or podcast, leave a comment below. I love taking comments and using them to inspire future content. All right, are you ready to hop into how to dress? Are you ready to all get offended together? Let's dive in. All right, let's start out with just a general rule for everyone. Don't dress like you're going to prom, right? That's going to cut out 90% of the problem with attire in mock trial. That means no hot pink ties. That means no evening gowns. You also don't want to dress like you're about to attend a fraternity or sorority event. So no navy blazers with gold buttons, no khaki pants, no boat shoes, right? That's the kind of stuff we want to avoid. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about what we don't want to avoid. Let's talk about what we want to wear, starting with male attorneys. As a male attorney, and again, this is stuff I followed when I competed, you're going to want to wear a suit that is either dark blue, navy, black, or gray, with a white or blue shirt and a non-distracting necktie or bow tie. And what I mean by non-distracting is, again, you don't want any very bright colors. You don't want a Winnie the Pooh or Looney Tunes tie, right? Something maybe a solid color, maybe a regimental striped tie, just something that is obviously to you going to be non-distracting. We also don't want bolo ties for our male attorneys. And also just a general rule, the color of your shoes should match the color of your belt, and it tends to be best to go with brown or black shoes and belt. Make sense? Let's move on to the ladies. What tends to work best for female attorneys in mock trial is actually very similar to what works best for the men in mock trial, and that is to wear a black, gray, navy, or dark blue suit with a blue or white shirt. Now, you're obviously not going to wear a tie, but where you do have a little bit of a choice here is whether you want to wear a pantsuit or a skirt suit. Both work just fine. The choice there is up to you. But another warning for both male and female attorneys is that what you want to avoid is color coordination. I've run into teams before that color coordinate across their attorneys, like in their school colors, or they're all wearing the same like American flag pin or something like that. We don't want any of that. That kind of gets into corny, hokey territory. Just you do you on that. There's no need to have matching or coordination. So that covers our basis on attorneys. Let's wrap up by talking about what witnesses should and should not wear. So in the same way that an attorney doesn't want to look like they're about to go to prom or to a fraternity or sorority event, as a witness, you don't want to look like you're about to go trick-or-treating on Halloween, right? The whole Halloween costume witnesses, I'm not a fan of. If you want to get a very realistic looking costume that has a distinct purpose, I'm okay with that. But overall, here's what you need to keep in mind as far as your attire goes as a witness. You need to think about the part you're playing and wear what that part, what that type of person would wear in real life. So for example, if you're playing the defendant in a murder trial, you need to wear a suit and tie because that's what a defendant in a murder trial would wear. If you're playing a doctor, you do not need to come into the courtroom with a lab coat and latex gloves on that have blood on them and a stethoscope, right? Because in what scenario is a doctor going to be treating a patient and go, oh crap, I got to go to court and run out and have all that stuff still on, right? That's Halloween costume territory. What a doctor's probably going to wear in court is something a little more formal. Maybe a shirt like the one I have on right now, which is a button down with a collar, but probably tucked in, unlike me right now, with a belt and with nice shoes and nice pants. Maybe a coat on over it, and maybe even a tie. But they're not going to be wearing a lab coat and latex gloves, right? That's silly. Okay, someone who's a bit more of a zany character. They're probably going to not be wearing jeans and a t-shirt, but you got to think, what would this character, if it were real life, think was appropriate to wear in court? And so what would this zany character I'm playing think of as their nice kind of Sunday best attire, right? You can get creative within that. But overall, the rule to remember when you're thinking of how to dress as a witness is dress as your character would dress in real life. So that kind of covers the basics of what to wear in mock trial. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And again, I know that this seems really nitpicky. I know it seems like something that's not that big of a deal, but it is a big deal because a team that walks into the room dressed for success screams to their opponent and to the scorers that we're ready to control this courtroom. And if you're underdressed, if you look like you're about to go to a sorority event, if you're wearing boat shoes and khakis, it's going to have the opposite effect. Now, being dressed well is like a tenth of the battle of succeeding in mock trial. And if you want to know more about the rest of mock trial and what works best everywhere else, well, there's plenty of videos on this channel or on this podcast you can take a look at. You can also pick up a copy of my book, Mock Trial Masterclass, which is available on Amazon. This book takes you top to bottom through mock trial and at how to succeed at every level. And opening statements, closing arguments, direct examination, cross-examination, all of those things and more are covered in this book. And if you want to pick up a copy, you can do so by clicking the link in the description on YouTube or in the show notes on podcast platforms. But that's it for now. Now you know how to be dressed for success in a mock trial, and I can't wait to hear how it goes for you.